Alright, good afternoon everyone. John Van Kins here. It is Thursday, March the 15th, and we are on our way to Florida. Apalachicola National Forest in the Panhandle of Florida. That is about a 5 to 6 hour drive depending on the traffic. So we're leaving now. It's about 5:30. We make a quick stop at Starbucks, get some caffeine for later in the drive, and then after about 3 or 4 hours we'll find a place to camp in the car. Shouldn't be too hard. I have a couple of spots picked out that should be good, and I'll report back once we get there. So for now we're on our way, and talk to you guys later. All right, we have our teas here, and I think we're ready to roll, aren't we? So, are you excited to go for a ride? Go to Florida? Go to Florida Panhandle. Don't be eaten by an alligator. Yeah. Okay. Have fun. Let's go. All right. So we drove about 2 hours right now, and we're about to turn from 285 to 185. Nice jump at the miles per gallon, 16.7 so far. It's not bad at all. Sully doing good as well. Well, good evening. It's 10:30, and we made it to the Mochi Mounts State Park. Some Indian mounts here. There's a campground, but a lot of people there, so I figured I should pull into some side street on the park ground and set up camp for the night. We'll be going to bed soon, and we'll be up at the crack of dawn, so we'll be out of here early. But yeah, here we are. Just unloaded some of the firewood that I brought, and ready to take a nap. I'll be up soon. Good morning. It's 6:30. Still dark. Probably ready to get up, but want to wait till daylight so we can see those Indian mounts here at the state park. It's actually quite chilly. It doesn't freeze, but this bull terrier here kept me warm. Okay, so wasn't too bad. So we'll wait another half an hour or so. 45 minutes should be light by then, and then we'll pack up, check out the Indian mountains, and head down south to the Apalachicola State Forest. So we'll hit the snooze button for about 30 minutes. Alright, we're at the Mochi Mounts Visitor Center. We just woke up and drove through the park. It's fairly small. There's a couple mounts, so we'll check them out. Alright, not sure if you can see there right in the middle there is a temple mount. I haven't really done my research, so I'm not sure exactly what those mounts represent, but thinking it would probably worship. I don't think these are burial sites, so the Mochi mounts, we have to do some research on those, and apparently there are several of them, but not sure. So I think here's one of the biggest mounts. It's behind those trees. You can't really see it, but that's pretty impressive. So Here's a better view. I think I read something about this a long time ago, that some of those mounds were actually destroyed by settlers. They used the dirt to build some other things. So this is probably one of the last ones, but it's kind of like a pyramid. You know, the ones you see at the Mayans and the Aztecs and what have you. Something very similar. So. Landing right next to the Apalachicola River, which you see right here. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, what do you got here? Oh, dude, what do you got there? Oh, God. Oh, you got that dead fish? Just don't sell. No, don't. Don't. Come on. Show me where you got it from. Make you show me. But as you can see, it's very peaceful. So, just found this here. Can it be crossed? I'm pretty sure it can. Will I? Of course I will. So there were a couple of mud puddles that I had to cross. You're basically in a swamp, so just a couple feet above sea level, and even though there's a drought, there were still quite a few mud puddles, and initially I was a little bit apprehensive crossing them, especially being by myself there. But as you can see, I made my way through them in 4 high without any problems. Motherfucker. Freaking lake in front of us. So here I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do to retrace my entire route, which might be an hour, and take a different trail, or am I going through it? So I've decided to slowly enter the puddle just to see if there's any terra firma underneath the wheels, and slowly making my way through it and see if I was going to be swallowed by the swamp or if I could make it across. Fingers crossed. Well, I think we're committed now. It's not too bad. Well, at least there's a nice tree in front of us to winch us out, so. Can't be that bad, can it? Oh, so we barely made it through that one, so a couple minutes later here's another one. Oh, good lord, there's enough one puddle left for another, is it? And for shits and giggles, here's another one. And another one. And a few more. Here I'm driving on what's called the Florida Trail. Not sure if it's an actual 4x4 off-road trail, but I took it anyway, and it has a small creek crossing. Let's see what happens. Alright, so time to bring the winch out. Alright, so the creek is about a foot deep, not all that deep, but the embankment was very steep and my differential was hitting the mud. I just couldn't get up. Loving that exo top, by the way. And my AEV rear bumper helps in preventing getting your feet wet in situations like this. Kind of like monkey bars. Alright, so after I got my gear, it took me a minute or so to winch myself out of this situation, and after I winched myself out, I took a little offshoot of the Florida Trail, a little dead-end trail that I found, and at the end of the trail I found a nice camping spot. Hey there. Alright, it's 3:30, it's Friday afternoon, and I drove the entire day, or most of the day, through the Apalachicola National Forest, which is basically a swamp type forest, flat, a couple creek crossings, and the last creek crossing actually I got stuck. As you can tell, it's muddy, but winched myself out, no problems. But it's very nice, it's totally different. It's very sandy and like I said, flat, but Forest Service roads are very bumpy. You got those washboards. So deflated the tires, aired them out to about 25, which, you know, is good enough for here. But here we are in a dead-end trail, literally in the middle of nowhere. The Apalachicola National Forest is almost 600,000 acres, so it's quite substantial size. And quite honestly, I haven't seen anybody except on the main Forest Service roads, which are actually quite nice. Pretty flat, they're still unpaved, but sandy, but not as bumpy. But here we are. So I'm going to set up camp and get myself a drink, make some dinner, and then we'll see what we do. All right. So we're pretty lucky with the weather. It's about 75 degrees. There's no wind here. There's a little breeze up there. I flew the drone a little bit and got a couple warnings that it was windy. So, but here it's nice. So first thing, I have to air out the comforter. When I went through the last creek, got a little wet. So got to dry it out a little bit, and then get my chair off the top there, make a fire here, Alrighty, it's 7 o'clock Eastern. What you got to sell? You're destroying a tree? It's a big stick. Go get it. Go get it. Alrighty. Well, it's 7 o'clock. We got an hour until it gets dark. Got our fire going. We got our drinks going. And Sully got his stick going, so going to bed early. We'll be waking up in the dark. We're doing a little night ride in the early morning to go to St. George Island and let Sully on the beach, let him run around, and then we will make our way back home. So it's a gorgeous night. We had a couple drips earlier today, just about an hour ago, just nothing really. Now it cleared up, so hopefully it will stay dry and we'll get a nice sleep and get up early, and we'll be home tomorrow afternoon. And just loving it here. Absolutely gorgeous. Well worth the drive. It's 5 hours, but well worth the drive. Alright, it's what time is it? 4:55 in the morning, Saturday, and let's get up early. The plan is to go to St. George Island, check out the beach there, and then head back home. So let's pack up and roll. Alright, so we're on an offshoot of the Florida Trail. That's where we camped. And the Florida Trail is a trail that runs through Florida, obviously. And once we get to that Florida Trail again, in a minute or so, we'll follow that until we get to a Forest Service road. And see if we can make our way to St. George Island. So as you can see, that light bar is working great on those dark Forest Service roads. But unfortunately I did experience an issue, which you will see in a second here. And there it goes. It decided to stop working for a few seconds. I wasn't sure exactly what caused it. Initially I thought probably a loose connection, so I'm going to check under the hood and see if anything is still connected solidly on the S-spot. But it was. So I'm not sure what it is. Fortunately, it worked for most of the night, so that's a good thing. But let me tell you, once you have that light, and all of a sudden it craps out on you, man, it feels like you're in total darkness. Up, and there it goes again. Alright, so this day was the day of dead ends. Encountered several dead end trails that weren't marked as dead end on the map, which was very frustrating. And another dead end. Looks like it's a creek, but too wide and not sure how deep it is, and not gonna attempt that in the darkness. Hey, look, another dead end. This was one of the most beautiful sunrises I've ever seen. Look at those tall pine trees and the coloring, purple coloring of the sky, absolutely gorgeous. Right, we're at St. George Island. It's a state park, and just flew the drone a little bit, did my toes in the water in the Gulf of Mexico, and now I am trying to find a place where Sully can go in the water. Dogs are not allowed on the beach here, so this is probably the farthest out that we will be getting on our trip. We'll be making our way back home, and that's going to take probably the entire day. So we're going to take the scenic route. So let's find a beach for Sully.
Around here lately because of all the stuff going on outside the house, you know, the pressure, the job, all those things that can weigh you down. You know, sometimes, just sometimes, you bring that home with you. And I understand, but you know, I want us to just stop for a minute and think about how much we have together.
And as I mentioned earlier, today was the day of dead-end trails. Here's another one. Okay. And another one. And another one. There are several trails that are specifically marked as 4x4 off-road trails on the map that I had. This was one of them, and I figured, okay, well, we gotta take this one. It's specifically for 4x4 vehicles, and as you can tell, there's quite a bit of overgrowth, and it became progressively worse. Let's see what happens. Alright, so here I'm thinking that, okay, there's just no way I can make it through here. I'm pushing a little bit forward just to see if it would clear up. There's still about a mile of trail left before we can hit an actual forest service road, so I was hoping maybe the fields out that I can see here. It was not, so eventually I had to turn around, which took me a little while, and took the trail back and continued our adventure. Next up was Fort Gadsden, which is an historic site on the river within the park. So it's about a mile off the main highway, and we figured, well, since we're passing by, we might as well visit it. Alright, we made a little side trip here, a little detour. We're at Fort Gadsden, an old fort that was built by the, I think by the British, here to protect, I guess, the river that we're walking next to. You can still see kind of the outside walls, berms, where the fort was located. It's actually an official historic site, I guess. But here you can see the river. Very peaceful here. Beautiful Spanish moss hanging out of the trees. Nice little breeze. So tired. Oh, so tired. Let's see what it says here. Well, it doesn't say anything on this side. There you go, Fort Gadsden. So, I guess we're where the flag is right now, and that's some heavy artillery listed there. So we're here, and they had a nice view of the river down there, what's coming up. Alright, so cemetery, or as the British say, cemetery in Bastion. So, God darn it, big fly. Look at that big sucker. Okay, this must be the cemetery. Well, not sure if there's just one person buried here or they piled them all in here. I think there were about 270 soldiers stationed at this fort, and actually when the fort was attacked by two gunboats back in 18 something, they hit the armory, and the big explosion killed, I think, like 250 people out of the 270, 300 that were here, and only 3 people actually made it out unharmed. I have it at home. I'm not sure what the issue is here. Probably nothing.